So why I like to target billfish, it's the baddest fish in the sea.
Woo! All right, boys!
It's an epic fight, it's a battle, it's hand-to-hand combat.
For me, the excitement of fishing in these tournaments is the challenge of catching big fish against some of the best fishermen in the world, as well as the monetary rewards that are involved as well.
Camaraderie in the fishing is probably the most important two things that we do on the tournament sides. And, you know, catching fish is a lanyard. You know, about having fun with your buddies and stuff is the most important thing about fishing.
Bill fishing's all about the adrenaline. Our strategy is just to go out there and give it 110%.
We're super competitive. We strive to try to be the best. You know, to say one thing's, you know, more exciting than the other, you know, getting the bite, watching the fish out there on top, you know, jump, and backing down, get the fish on the wire. You know, there's nothing like a fish burning off, you know, hundreds of yards of drag at a time and, you know, never knowing what size blue marlin you're gonna catch, whether it's a 150-pounder or an 800-pounder.
We got the leader.
Yeah, baby! Oh, yes!
Yeah, baby!
This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
And the SFC is a competition, and the Gulf of Mexico is our arena as the boats headed out of Grand Isle in Venice, Louisiana. It's the first stop in the inaugural year of the Sport Fishing Championship, the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. I'm Robbie Floyd with Peter Miller, my good friend and expert in everything offshore. And Peter, we are hearing good things from the Gulf of Mexico today.
Yes, we sure are. There's a lot of fish being caught. We started out a little slow, but they're on them now. The guys found the fish, and they're catching them.
Southern Charm taking off yesterday, heading out to the waters of the Gulf of Mexico. They've had a good day so far. The thing that we're going to be looking at a lot this week is the platforms and the oil rigs. That's what it's known for down here in the Gulf. I live in Texas. I see thousands of rigs and platforms out there, but it is a great fishery. This is sportsman's paradise.
And this is where the fish will congregate. The bait will congregate around these rigs, and the marlin will come in to eat them up. And that's where these guys are doing a lot of focusing.
Again, down just below the Louisiana Delta there, the Southern Charm, Bandito. You see all of our teams. We have 8 different camera crews out there bringing you the action by boat, transferring it back to the on-site, onto the land, and we're bringing it to you as quick as possible. They can go up to 200 miles, but at least 150 miles. Some of these boats are out. I mean, that's a pretty good run.
It sure is, and that's why they're bringing those extra fuel bladders so they can make that run and get back to the docks.
Again, 8 cameras on these boats throughout the day. This is day number 2, but it's about points here at each stop of the Sport Fishing Championship. You get the most points from the blue marlin. 350 for the blue marlin, sit down to the bottom. If you catch the first blue marlin of the tournament, you get an extra 100. That could be key. But white marlin, 125 with the spearfish, but 75 points each for sailfish and swordfish. There are swordfish out there, but I don't think they're going to be hunting for swordfish because you got to catch quite a few of them to catch up to that blue marlin number.
That's very true. But if you do catch the swordfish, a lot of times they're schooled up on the bottom, and you can knock out 4 or 5 in a single day. So there's a possibility that a bunch of those could add up to something.
4 swordfish could equal up to 1 blue marlin. But let's take a look at our teams and how they fared today. You hear that sounder, that means we have a catch alert, and this is looking back at this morning. We heard about Rising Suns. They caught a blue marlin at 8:22. That was right about the time we were going on air, but things would be starting to build throughout the day.
That's right, and we got Fog Cutter released a blue marlin at 9:05 a.m., which is fantastic, and then Badonkadonk lost a blue marlin at 9:07, so we see that early bite was happening.
Again, Breathe Easy released a blue marlin, so that means they get that 350 points. But remember, they were the first team to catch a fish yesterday. The blue marlin, they got 450 on top of this one. Moncherie, Southern Charm, they were playing catch up, but they were catching up.
You're correct. Yeah, Moncherie has a bunch of fish now, and I tell you, that Breathe Easy with that extra 100 points is very nice.
And you see back-to-backs from Moncherie, 10:38, 11:55, within an hour and 20 window. You keep up that pace, you're probably going to win this tournament.
Well, that's a double header right there. There's no 2 ways about it. That's only less than 20 minutes apart. That was a double header. You know, those blue marlins swim in schools at times, or at least they swim in packs.
You see Crawgator on the board there. Southern Charm with another blue marlin. marlin. They released their second blue marlin at 120. Rising Suns, another one of our camera boats, at 151, and Badonkadonk. They keep adding up the points, and that's what it's about. It's not about one individual fish. It's how many, because it could be a 500-pounder, it could be a 150-pounder. They count the same. Our Invincible Boats Yellowfin Tuna category, Rising Suns landed a good one. They're going to bring that to shore. And again, our largest, both wahoo, yellowfin tuna from Invincible Boats, as well as a mahi-mahi. Whoever has the biggest from this tournament will be our winner in that championship category. But again, breathe easy. Look at that, 235, 345. They're in some good water.
They sure are. They're on the fish. They're feeling good about it. I know they don't want anybody near them right now. They want to fish by themselves and continue to rack and stack.
So again, we have the billfish category, the championship fish category, and that's what the yellowfin tuna was in. But breathe easy, leads the field right now. You see that asterisk? That means they caught the first blue marlin of the tournament. They get an extra 100 points. So 350 for that fifth fish plus the 100. That's why they have that 450 advantage.
That could be the difference of it all at the end of the game.
But the one thing about it, and we also have two other boats, I believe Second Wind and Rising Suns not in there. They are tied for fourth spot. They should have one blue marlin as well. So again, they are catching fish. We're going to get you all the scoop, all the insight, everything that's happening out on the water from everybody that has a camera on board. We will be bringing in that footage tonight and showing it to you tomorrow live on CBS Sports Network. He's Peter Miller. I'm Robbie Floyd, and welcome everybody inside our studios. And Peter, you always wonder when you go to these tournaments, are they going to catch them? These are the best of the best. They are going to catch them, and it proves that they did today.
Oh, these guys are absolutely on fire all the time. The prep work that these guys do to get out there and catch these fish is incredible. They will work for months to get this right. And today's and yesterday and the day after are these days that they want to catch these fish. And the guys that have 5 fish right now, they got to be feeling pretty good, especially with an extra 100 points.
What was our number at last year? We're looking at like 18 blue marlin. We're above that pace, right?
Yeah,
well above that pace.
We're right there.
Yeah, we're sitting there. And also the other subspecies, we have the Invincible Yellowfin Tuna. Get another one. But it's not always about catching. We saw Team Bandito this morning not able to get that fish in. And sometimes you have to deal with the heartbreak. And there's Bandito. And it looks like they're about to build either a rig or a platform. But they were in the fish. They showed it. They were biting this morning.
They had that marlin bite probably 5 to 6 times up on the teasers. He was on the short. He was on the short right teaser, down the center, on the left long, on the teaser again. Then he bit. Finally had him and he jumped off. General area of Southern charm. So again, if you know you're around guys that are catching fish, that's a good thing. You'd hate to be way away from everyone and hearing this, because on the radio they're calling in these catches because things can happen. But again, Bandito, they had one on this morning, and you can see what happened here. It wasn't good.
All right, hold on. I see, we see him blue. It's a blue, it's a blue. It's a big one. Come on, this is trap. Bring it off. Bring that short in. Bring the short in some. He's on the corner. He's on the corner. Yeah. I know. He's on it. Baby. Let him eat. Right behind the boat. Oh. He's on the teaser. He's on it. We got it. Drop it off. Don't worry. There he is, right there on the shore. No. What do y'all want? Let's get it out. Wait for it. He's right on the shore. He's on the shore. Don't reel it. Leave it. He's going to get it, Corky. He's eating it. He's eating it now. He is all over them. Reel it. All right, stop. He's still on. He's on the shore. Dinner crank, Corky, get ready.
Why are we not feeding line bait back then, or bait back then?
Seems up.
We lost him. He's still there. He's on the. He's out. He's on the left rigger. He's on it. He's on. He's on. Get that teaser in. He's not on now. He's not on. He's not on. He's still on. He's still on the long. He's on the long.
We got it, Dad. Get by.
All right, he's on. He's on. Let's clear. All right, clear.
Keep going, Chad.
He's on.
Hit the teaser. Keep going, Chad. We're off.
You still on, Court?
Come on, guys. We got to do better.
God, how we missed him?
Peter, a bandito is bandit in Spanish, and they got robbed. Chad Solomon right there said, we got to do better than that.
You know, you're right. They did everything right. You saw how active they were in the cockpit. They were running around doing everything right, but sometimes it just doesn't pan out.
Sometimes everything right still ends up wrong, but they're catching the blue marlin today. We'll see if they have some other species in the mix. Again, it's a long day and night of fishing on the Sport Fishing Championship, but I love seeing the numbers rolling in. I can't wait till tomorrow as well.
It's very exciting. There's some big fish coming through.
We'll also have the Gale Force Twins on site at Grand Isle. We'll hear from them and see what they have to say when we return here on the SportFishingChampionship.com.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
It all comes back to the water. This binding agent. This fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is brought to you by Salt Life, AC Home Watches. Smith Optics. And by the Louisiana Office of Tourism.
Looking at the mullet working in that dredge. We'll talk about what that's all about, especially next week. Welcome back to the Sport Fishing Championship, the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic from Grand Isle as well as Venice. It's about the mighty billfish, the biggest, the baddest, the king of the jungle, the king of the seas, or the king of the Gulf of Mexico, as we say. I'm Robbie Floyd with Peter Miller. And we're all looking for that big tail wagging blue marlin because they give you the most points, 350 points possible. And again, that is the biggest of our billfish we'll be talking about today.
And we're still looking for those white marlin, the sailfish, swordfish, and spearfish as well. They all count.
This is true. There are 5 in our billfish. Our championship is a different version there. We're looking at Grand Isle and Hurricane Hole. Let's take a look ahead with Smith Optics and where we'll be heading. I talked about that dredge. Will we be seeing that in the Dominican Republic next week?
Sure will, 100%.
Yeah, May 7th, that is next week. And you can follow along on our program here, our calendar year. You can see we've got a busy next month and a half coming up.
I'll tell you what, we're going to be all over the place. A lot of stuff in the Gulf. We're going to be going to Dominican, Puerto Rico, and then we hit the Atlantic side, and we're going to be going all the way up to New York.
And that's what we're bringing it all together. You can see the Gulf and Atlantic different divisions. Our next round is a combined event. If you're a Gulf competitor, you can get points for the Gulf. If you're Atlantic, that can be the kickoff to your season in the Dominican Republic, the White Marlin Tournament. And you can watch it live on CBS Sports Network that Saturday, May 7th. Looking at our field, we have 8 different cameras on the boats in Rising Sun yesterday in that quadrant. Where were they at? They were hanging up near Mississippi Canyon, kind of that area. You see them not too far from Southern Charm and Bandito. And the Invincible Boats Tuna Division, they should be leading that. Again, they caught a good one. And it is about that championship fish as well. Because what is it? Wahoo, the yellowfin tuna by Invincible Boats, as well as the Mahi Mahi. They're trying to win the biggest fish of this tournament.
And you never know. That tuna could be the one that takes them all the way through. Who knows how big this tuna is? Could be a jumbo.
And that's something that they'll bring in tomorrow. That is a fish that they would bring in. Those 3 classifications, also known as the championship fish, because we'll get a big fish from all 3 categories here, our next stop throughout, and our 11th stop. Whoever has the largest yellowfin tuna will get an extra $50,000 at the end of the year. Same thing for the Wahoo
and the Mahi.
And the Mahi Mahi. So a lot of money is on the line for doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway.
That's the way to do it. I mean, if you can make money doing what you love, that's what you want to do. Then you'll never work a day in your life, as they say.
Again, Rising Suns identified that they were our leader, or we're hearing from out on the water. I'm sure they, Captain Jimmy Crochet has them dialed up. Now, are they actually searching for bait? Are they searching, trolling through these waters? And if it's a marlin and they have that on, it's fine. If it's a yellowfin tuna, well, I'll take that as well. Are they intermixed among the rigs?
They are intermixed, and different rigs hold different types of bait, and they hold different types of fish. And as soon as you get to certain areas, you will be able to zero in and look at your fish finder, your sonar, and be able to mark things on your sonar that will detect a certain type of species.
Now, as far as they're looking at here, where they're sitting still and look at stuff and it's much dirtier water, are they bait fishing now? Or are they trying to target those tuna for bait, or are they know that there's some big ones there and I can go ahead and get some bonus?
They're trying to get some bait right now. It looks like they're getting some blue runners. They're trying to get some little tunas, blackfins, and skipjacks and that sort of thing. Right there, they got a nice blue runner.
Again, I would be the king of the blue runner catch, and that's my style right there. Let me flip that bail and I'll catch the little guys all day long, because the little guys bring in the big mamas.
Oh, they love them. I caught a tiny blackfin tuna once and dropped that down and caught a jumbo yellowfin tuna on my baby blackfin.
Again, I'm sure they probably also have guests on board. You can catch them multiples at the same time. And look how gingerly they're being with those bait fish, because you don't want to touch them, knock off that slime layer. They're being very particular.
That's right. The pH level on your hand will leave some fingerprints on it, and the tunas don't want to see that. Their eyes are super sharp. You need extra clean leader and perfect baits.
Now, these aren't all the same type of baits. They're not all going for the same thing. If they feel like they need one type over the other, they can always pull it out and use it to tease those fish in, the big blue marlin.
That's right. You got to have a bag of tricks up your sleeve.
And they got the skinny mini there in the middle. Again, those live wells are going to be filling up as far as the bait is concerned. And it's hard for me to believe, a guy that does a lot of freshwater stuff and covers that. It's hard to look at those fish thinking like, that should be the competition for me. But no, we're out there trying to catch 1,000-pound fish.
That's correct. We're going for the big boys in this one.
Now we're going on site with Site 1. Let's go down to Grand Island Hurricane Hole. It's the Gale Force Twins. Amanda, Emily, welcome to our show once again. You spent the entire day out here. It's only your second day. How are things going so far?
You know, I have to say what's really unique about this specific tournament is that all these boats are going out for so many days at a time that it's actually kind of quiet. Wouldn't you say so, Amanda?
I would say that who we have here, the team, the Sport Fishing Championship team, it's intense. We are here.
We're excited.
Waiting to hear what's getting caught, but we're not seeing the boats come into the dock like you normally would in some of these other tournaments where the boats will come back to the dock in the afternoon or evening and have a lines out and you get to weigh fish and see all that. We're not going to see that until tomorrow afternoon, and that's something really unique about the golf tournaments that's actually new to us. We have some experience with Atlantic tournaments, and we're used to those tournaments. You're out for the day and you're back by 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, but here they're spending the night out there. So it's a little bit different for us, but it's actually super unique. I mean, the captain and crew, they're working around the clock.
So, I mean, again, the tournament officials, they're there, they're listing all this intake. Have you heard any drama from any of the boats? Are you hearing anything specifically? Because at times they'll say they have a fish on, and we saw that. You saw that with Bandito, and they'll have a fish off. How much discussion is going over the airways because you hear the radio?
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing as much as we can, and mostly we get most of our intel once the camera boats come in, but we are getting messages and notifications of what is going on out there, and we are hearing about the releases, and it looks like 2 of the boats, I think, caught 9 blue marlin out of, 13, I think, total so far for this tournament. So that's actually something interesting to think about, is wondering where those 2 boats are specifically fishing. Are they fishing together, or are they totally spread out and fishing separately? And that's something unique about tournament fishing, is where are they going? What is the captain saying? Are they seeing something specific? Are those guys fishing blue water? Are they fishing green water? Usually you do want to fish that blue water, but sometimes the green water pushes out and there could be marlin in that as well.
You guys saw earlier too on that oil rig, that water was green, and you have to think about it, there's nothing for miles and miles and miles. So if these fish have some little safe haven for themselves, that's where they're going to be, and if there's green water, then it's green water sometimes.
Yeah, and we're able to see some of the fish catches out there today, but it also looked like some of the bait, Peter, that dirty water as well. So you're going to see a mix. Now I know that we have our tape runners that are coming out and giving you that information more. And you got to give us a scoop what they're going to say behind the scenes, because I know they're probably going to talk to those guys for a little bit before they run the cards back. It's a busy day, and I know things are going to heat up for you tomorrow. We're going to be live on CBS Sports Network, but have some fun, get some sleep, and try and get the scoop. Because again, just like you said, some of those locations are one thing. We won't go specific, but what type of water are they hunting? Certain thermoclines. Anything else? Are you getting the itch to go out there? Because I know at times you've tournament angled, but you do it more fun fishing. Are you getting the itch to want to go out there and do it yourselves?
Absolutely. We actually tried to sneak out today for an hour or 2 to try and catch some redfish or trout. We weren't able to make it happen, so hopefully we can make it happen tomorrow or sometime before we go back home, because we actually have never fished in Louisiana, even though we spent some time out here. So this is a new fishery for us, and unfortunately, even though it's great to be here, we're going to have to watch from back at the dock,
just like some of our viewers as well. And something that we've been talking about doing, which we're hoping we can do before the next tournament, is getting out there and doing some blue marlin fishing in the Gulf with these guys to really get a feel for what it's like to be out there. Because like we were saying, all of our blue marlin fishing experience is on the Atlantic side. We have gone up and fished Ocean City, Maryland, which out there sometimes they do live bait. But when we went, we were pulling dredges, which is a totally different technique. And that's what we're more used to. And we're also used to sail fishing. And there's so many different types of fishing that you could learn about how to catch blue marlin in the Bahamas, in Ocean City, Maryland, come to the Gulf, and it's a totally different fishery. And that's kind of what we're learning out here. And we're hoping we can get a chance to go out and catch these blue marlin with the Gulf guys at some point.
Well, we'll see you in the morning on sportfishingchampionship.com as well as CBS Sports Network. Thank you, ladies. The Gale Force Twins. They've been there, done that, but not in Louisiana, and especially not Venice and Gulf Hall. Looking at our boats, these aren't exact locations, but general areas, and you're seeing groups of boats in certain areas looking for different topography, different thermoclines. The ladies mentioned dredges. You've got one thing in Team All In with Blake Bridges. They've had a preconceived notion. If you're not catching fish at this point, you gotta bring in a reliever. There's nobody to help you. You've got to come up with something.
You
quick.
got to keep reinventing, and you got to keep changing. What we tend to do is we look for different colors, we look for different techniques, and then you have your mascot. Look at that mascot right there. That's special.
Your gnome, your fishing gnome.
Yeah.
Again, we have 8 different boats that took off yesterday, and we'll get all of their information. We'll dump the download, and we see a lot of those boats that we have cameras on do catch fish. Breathe Easy did not have a camera on, so our leader didn't. But we'll try and give you everything we can tomorrow. We do have fish catches. We will show you that. We will update as it is live tomorrow. But technology is not on our side, but we're getting close. We're going to try and get you stuff out on the water. We've seen it before on centralized stuff and stuff really tight to the coast, but we will get you all of the video coverage and not just the stuff that happened the day before. We'll try and run back stuff as soon as possible. But again, something about this tournament is they don't have to be in at a certain time for us. They can have lines in, lines out at a certain time, but they don't have to be back at the dock at a certain time.
And another nice thing about all of this is that each boat has to capture the footage of the fish on their GoPro. So if they don't have a camera on there, they do have to turn in their cards,
absolutely,
which we'll be able to see.
And again, you see anglers fighting the wrong species. We would later find out as well. But yes, as far as the card, and let's go through that. Say this angler hooked up right now. They might identify, hey, we have a fish on. Now, what's the proper sequence that he would have to do? It's a blue marlin. Now, what constitutes a legal catch for this team if it were a blue marlin?
That's a great question. At this point, you'd want to see the fish and identify the fish positively as it's jumping. So the cameraman would say, we got him on camera, it's a blue marlin, but you want to get a better picture of it. So once you get that fish close to the boat, you want to make sure that you get the video of the blue marlin or whatever type marlin it is and really try to focus on that dorsal so it can clarify exactly what kind of marlin it is. And when you get the catch is when the swivel hits the tip of the rod or if the mate reaches out and touches the leader with his hand. Either one is a legal catch in this tournament.
And you see some hand reeling right there. This was a shark being caught, so that was not a legal catch. It was not a species that we were looking for. But in that particular case, the camera has to be running continuous with no stops at all. And you see the disappointed them catching that, but no stops at all. The hand either on the leader or the swivel makes a point, and now it is officially unofficial. But looking at our official, unofficial results, Breathe Easy on top. And again, the difference is catching that first blue marlin, give them 450 points. If not, and say it was Mon Cherie, the point differential would be 100 points less.
And that extra 100 points could be the difference of the entire series. And 100 points could make or break you.
And again, this wasn't caught in the morning. This was caught in the afternoon for Breathe Easy. So it took a little while for them to get into the billfish, but once they did, we've seen things that kind of been lighting up from yesterday afternoon onto today as well.
They've been very consistent, and there have been a bunch of doubles. Things are looking good.
Again, the Sport Fishing Championship is the first stop. We'll be back on sportfishingchampionship.com in the morning before we head on live to CBS Sports Network. We're glad you can be a part of it. We're going to bring you all those fish catches from today from the cameras we have on the boats. For Peter, I'm Robbie. We'll see you then.
A day out on the water could go great. Or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough. Or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
sport fishing anglers from around the world, competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
SFC coverage of the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is brought to you by Salt Life, Sea Home Watches, and by Smith Optics.
Love those shots of the sailfish corralling the bait fish. I don't know what I was thinking, Peter Miller. I thought we were done for the day, but we are not. We're still wrapping up our Sport Fishing Championship on this second day of 3 as the sun begins to set on Grand Isle and Venice, Louisiana. On this Friday afternoon, we will be bringing you live coverage tomorrow on CBS Sports Network. It says go slow. I should have slowed down a little bit more. I must have had my Salt Life shirt a little too tight around the collar, Peter.
You gripped it and you ripped it.
Yes, I did. But a great facility at Hurricane Hole, a rebuilt facility, and all of our coverage is brought to you by our JM crew here and the camera work of Ben Oliver. You need a good drone guy. He's your guy. And you look at the water clarity there. You know, again, you're in the Delta. You're down there at the bottom. The water stirred up from the Mississippi River coming through at Cypress Cove Marina. And totally different clarity. As you get out further, the water changes color as well. And the ladies, they talked about that from brown to green to blue, and you even mentioned purple. But looking at our catch alert and hearing that sounder this morning started off big for Rising Suns, our first catch of the day.
That's right. They got one at 8:22, and then Fog Cutter released a blue marlin at 9:05, and Badonkadonk lost a blue at 9:07.
So in about 30-40 minutes, we catch 3 marlin at a time. But you see, they're really starting to build, and there's less than 20 minutes. Breathe Easy, Mon Cherie, and Southern Charm all releasing marlin. Is it like, I hear lake fishermen talk about how the bite kind of turns on. Is it always this? Is it typical like that for offshore stuff as well?
It sure is. It's kind of like a barometric pressure change, and there you see Mon Cherie, and then Crawgator within a very short period of time as well. So yeah, it's like a drop. It's a time of day. Something just clicks and they bite.
Well, our weatherman always talks about that barometric pressure, but the fish, the billfish, they really do feel it, and that can be a factor. Again, the thermocline, or names you may not hear, is Southern Charm releasing their second blue marlin at 1:20. Now remember, it was yesterday afternoon when they caught their the first. Oh, that was Breathe Easy that did that. But their second one today in Southern Charm, Rising Suns, Badonkadonk. Breathe Easy caught that first fish of the tournament, got the 450 points, that 100 bonus points, and then things started turning on later on today as they would start catching more and more fish. But Rising Suns on the board again with their yellowfin tuna, brought to you by Invincible Boats. So they're leading our championship fish category with the tuna.
That's right. And then we've got Southern Charm released a third blue marlin, and then Mon Cherie released a fourth blue marlin for them. So right now, we're looking pretty good. I think we have about 16 marlin in the mix.
And Mon Cherie at one point was leading this tournament, but again, things started turning up between 2:35 and 3:45. Breathe Easy. That kind of put them up one full fish plus that bonus, that made the difference. But Moncherie, they're doing something right. They're 1 fish behind or 1.5 fish behind. But Moncherie, Breathe Easy leading the field. Southern Charm still not too far behind. You also have another couple of boats that are in the mix as well. Fog Cutter, Crawgator, guys to look for. Second Wind, Rising Sun also have a marlin. It's anybody's championship, and again, a lot of money is on the line.
It's anyone's game. You are correct, sir.
Tomorrow morning, we're going to kick off on sportfishingchampionship.com before we get on to CBS, and then also in the afternoon, we'll do a recap and kind of an update of what we were able to see throughout the day, updated fish totals, and we'll try and get you something as soon as possible. But the big show on CBS Sports Network tomorrow, 9 a.m. All of our times are Eastern, and we're going to be bringing you the live scoop. All of our fish catches that happened today, we're going to be bringing it to you on CBS Sports. For Peter, I'm Robbie. We'll see you then.